A very good evening, everybody. So we'll start for today's session. And our topic for today is scheduler and interbranch reconciliation. So starting with the first topic, we'll just go ahead with the interbranch reconciliation part. I'm sharing my screen. So why interbranch reconciliation is so important in RealBooks? Now, RealBooks is all about, if you have created a company where there are multiple segments which has been created to just make sure all the transactions are in place, whatever is, a transaction which is updated in one branch for the other branch, it's get updated correctly. So all sorts of reconciliation needs to be done. So it's not required each and every time that you're taking out all the transactions dumped from one segment and then getting it compared for the opposite ledgers in the opposite campus or the opposite segments. So just to sort this out, we do have an option in our RealBooks which goes like reports, accounts, daily reports, and branch reconciliation. So this is the report over here. I am just logged into a company where there are multiple segments. So there will be entries which is getting passed between the different segments. So just to have a track whether all the entries are updated correctly or not, I will just run a specific date of, for example, from the month of August, and I will hit search. So there are a lot number of transactions which is reflecting over here with different icons, like you will be finding an exclamation mark on which the hover says as unreconciled, and few tick marks are there on the hover which shows as reconciled. Now, what is that exactly all about? So as you can see, the green or the tick mark denotes that the transactions for which the branch it's reconciled between the two different branches. But the one which is having the unreconciled part are the ones for which there are some mismatches. For example, if there is a receipt entry in one campus of 1600 and maybe the 1600 opposite entry of payment is not available in the opposite segment. That's the reason it's reflecting as a mismatch. Now, how to identify and how to rectify it? So the moment I click over here, my system is highlighting two transactions. Like I'm clicking on the first line, automatically it takes me down to the 10th row as well. That means someday or the other, these two lines are related to each other. And that's the reason both are having reconciled icon reflecting over here. So if I will just click on any of them, so you are getting the hovers over here, the links to drill down. I will click over here. And you will be finding a transaction day-wise where all the reconciliation has been done by the system itself. The first and the last entries are reconciled between each other, but the second and third are having the errors part over here. So how to correct that or how to identify that what exactly the issue is with these two entries. So instead of going day-wise, we'll just go transaction-wise. So over here, I am getting since I have different segments over here. So one of the segments name is Nitin and the other segment's name is Ajay. So over here, as you can see, the credit, the first one on 28th August 2022, there is an amount of 30,000 which is on credit side, and on my right on 20th August, there is an amount of 30,000 on my debit side. That means there is no mismatch between these two transactions. But on the other side, for the second row, if we go with the transactions date on 25th of August, there is an amount of 600 in debit side, but we do have a credit of 1,500. That means there is a mismatch of 900 amount. And that's the reason why it's reflecting that it's unreconciled. There is something wrong with these transactions, that probably the transactions have not been updated correctly, or there are certain mismatches coming up over here. So how to correct it? It's as simple as that. The moment you click over the link provided, automatically the entry pipes in, and you can view the transaction that what exactly the entry should be in your system. In case if you do not have the permission to open the transaction, you will be finding a no permission page over here. As well as in case if you do have the edit option or you don't have the edit option, whatsoever be the reason, and you want to mark it over here, the transaction, if you want to mark it as red, just for a concern, just to come back again after a day or so just to make sure whether the entry was correct or not. What is the purpose behind of updating this kind of entry, or whatsoever be the reasons behind that. So this way you can just go ahead and check what is the differences, and you can reconcile your branch, whatever transactions are updated in the RealBooks. So you do have certain options coming up over here like ledgers. The moment you click over ledgers, all the ledgers which is being used in those transactions will come up over here, reflecting and making your life easier in order to reconcile the branch reconciliation. So you do have the option of exporting as well. So the moment you click on export, automatically the Excel dumps gets in. So you can have a track of it, you can reconcile, you can mark it the way you want as per your convenience. So you do have this option in the day wise as well. So the transaction wise is the option which will give you a detailed information that how to reconcile, what is the mismatch, what exactly needs to be checked, and so on. So over here in my day wise also, if you just go to day wise, you are getting the exact amount difference, and what is the exact difference between the two branches. And the moment you click on this particular amount, automatically it will highlight only those transactions or those differences of two entries between the two segments. So this was about the branch reconciliation detailed view. Now you do have an option of export in each and every screens over here. Now in your case, there might be transactions of about 30,000, 10,000, 5,000. How to just identify? You will be having an option on your left top corner, whether you want to see all types of entries, which is reconciled as well as unreconciled, or you want to view only the mismatched part. So for viewing the mismatched part, you just need to click on mismatch and you will click on hit search. So the moment you click on search, you will be viewing only those transactions with the differences. What is the difference? Now you can again, the same process goes on. You need to dig into deep and you just need to click over here. What is the transaction? Since at the time of viewing, I just highlighted it as red. So this red mark will hold in each and every reports wherever this entry will reflect. So this is the same goes over here as well. And you do have an option of Excel and PDF and browse print, both for mismatch and all transactions. So just to avoid these kind of entries so that there is no mismatches, okay, you are creating one receipt ka entry in your one segment, and in the other segment, if you skip to update the payment entry or you updated by mistake a wrong amount, just to avoid these kind of confusions, in our RealBooks, we do have an option of updating inter-branch transfer, which is called inter-branch transfer entries. So those entries makes your life a bit easier. For example, if I just show you one transactions over here, which is, if I go over here, for example, I would hit go over here. So this is my inter-branch transfer entry. If I go and check in my IBT transactions, each and entry automatically gets logged, and you're not supposed to edit it individually. Automatically, whatever entries, whatever segment you select while transferring, or whichever branch is aligned to have that particular amount, those entries gets into places accordingly, and your reconciliation is pretty much easier when it comes to branch reconciliation. So any confusions or any questions with respect to this particular screen or this particular feature, please go ahead with that. So in case if the screen is clear and the report is clear to everyone, I would request each and every one of you to just to review this page wherever the segments are applicable, and just to review whether all the branch reconciliation has been done and all the entries are up there updated correctly in your books, just to avoid any mismatches or any confusions in your future. So moving ahead to the next topic of the day, which is scheduler. Now, why scheduler is so important for every one of us? Now, what's about scheduler? Scheduler is something which is, as the name denotes, on a specific schedule. If you want to review your branch reconciliation, like for example, the branch reconciliation are being done on a specific frequency in our books, and at the end of every month or probably at the end of every week, you want to view all the reports updated correctly, whether it's there or not. For example, if someone's aligned physically, what will happen? You are providing, you're aligning one particular person to provide you the branch reconciliation report and on every Friday at 6 p.m., for example. But by mistake, if that person is just forgot or skipped what to do next, if all the entries or all the transactions are updated correctly in your books, you can just schedule the timing in your RealBooks itself so that it gets notified to the concerned person on that specific date and on that specific time, and without missing. It's masters, accounts, and we will go to schedule. Now we'll just go to schedule and we will create one scheduler just for an example. For example, I want to view a party's ledger. For example, I will go and I want to view one ledger report, party ledger report, I can say over here. And I want it out via email only. And I want to notify the user over here. Now, what is this user to notify? So these are the users which are already available in your RealBooks who do have the access to log in into the books and view all the transactions or so on. So unless and until you don't have the user permission for this particular books, this name will not appear over here. So whatever registered email ID against this particular user is defined in your module, only those will get notified for the reports of this books. So I'm just updating my user name over here. I will update the schedule. At what schedule do I want? Do I want it hourly basis, at an interval, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, annually? Whatever, it's upon me, it's upon the requirement of the report that I want to get scheduled. So over here, just to show a small demo, we will just select the daily part. And since we are at 18/7, which means 6/17, so I will make it as 6/9/18 probably. And I will select PM. I will select, since I want it from the all segments, so that's the name of all. I will select the ledger name. The moment it select the ledger name, it asks me whether I want to notify to the concerned party as well. Now over here, if I just click over here, this means that whatever ledger name I'm selecting, whatever email ID is configured against this ledger master, that particular party will also get this particular notification, which my user will get at this scheduled time. So I will update it as period as days, and I will go with the current part. I will select it as PDF. Since it's already 6/18, so I will change the time to 19. And I am good to go, and I will click on save. So my scheduler is already created in the system. The moment it hits 6:19 p.m., automatically I will receive a mail from RealBooks. So this way you do have different options. For example, you don't want to get notified for each and every, all the campuses. You just want for a specific branch or a specific segment, you wanted to get it notified. You can just select that specific segment. So all the entries pertaining to that specific segment, only those will get notified. Other than that, nothing will get notified. So you can define it this way. If you don't want to notify the party, you need not select over here. This way, you do have different options coming up, like you have an option of ledger report, day book report, cash flow, profit and loss. So coming back to my mail, I will just check if I have received any mail. Yes, I did have received one mail saying that the scheduled party ledger report. Since I created the scheduler with this name and my interval was daily, and so it is getting updated as party ledger report for daily, and this interval will keep on changing as per your whatever you have configured in your masters. So where it says your scheduled party ledger report for daily from RealBooks, please find the attachment. I will get the attachment of that particular party. Since I didn't have the transactions for that particular date, and that's the reason why the PDF is blank. If you're having the transactions on that particular date, you will be getting all the data in your PDF accordingly. So coming back to my RealBooks, I'll again switch to masters, accounts, and I will go to schedule, and I will hit edit. So this way you can explore the books as per your convenience, whatever report you want on a scheduler format. You just need to make sure and take care all the transactions or all the entries are updated in the books on time correctly. So the moment if everything is updated in your books correctly, you need not worry about the scheduling of the reports. You just need to come down over here. You need to put all the details, whom you want to notify now. It's not that I can only notify myself once at a time. I do have a coma part coming up over here for updating the multiple people over here. Whoever user is having the Booksta access, you can just keep on adding them over here. And accordingly, you can select the concerned report. For example, you have ledger report, day book, cash flow, profit and loss, trial balance. This way you have multiple n number of reports coming up over here, which you can schedule as per your convenience. You can just go ahead and validate or just explore the screens as per your convenience. And then you will be able to come back in case if any query, you can always come back to us and we will help you out. So since I scheduled one more report on at the time of 6:21, so here is the PDF where the transaction lies. Since on the current date, I scheduled the report and so nothing was reflecting. So this will be the report which will be exactly matching with the transactions of my RealBooks. If I just go to reports, accounts, daily reports, ledger, so Meto is already selected. So all these transactions which were updated in my books will automatically get triggered via mail on the scheduled time. So this was all about the scheduler part. So thank you so much all for joining.